friends, I'm Krunal and welcome to the channel of your own Constitution for Life. Friends, have you ever tried to think that right to property, which was guaranteed in Article 31 at the commencement of the Constitution, is now guaranteed in the Article 300A of the Constitution? How is this possible? The journey from a fundamental right to a constitutional right. Have you ever tried to think that at the commencement of the Constitution there were only 8 schedules, but today there are 12 schedules in the Indian Constitution, from where these 4 extra schedules are inserted in the Constitution, and how is this possible? So the answer for all these type of questions is the amendment acts in the Indian Constitution, which are made by the Parliament. Yes, the constitution makers of Indian Constitution thought that India is a developing nation, the biggest democracy in the world, and that's why the Constitution of India must have some provisions to amend it with certain limitations. And that's why some provisions were made by the constitution makers to amend or to modify the Indian Constitution as it is needed for the time being. And that's why 104 amendments took place in the history of the Indian Constitution, and with these 104 amendments, Indian Constitution is prepared today. So friends, this is Article 368, which deals with all the provisions regarding the amendments in the Indian Constitution. Means with the help of this Article 368, means the Parliament of India can amend the Indian Constitution, some of the parts of it, some of the articles of it, or any provision or sub-articles regarding it. And they also can insert, add or repeal some of the articles or some of the parts in the Indian Constitution by using this Article 368. So let's take a quick look at how this whole process works. So when the Parliament thinks that there are some required amendments which should be made in the Indian Constitution, the Parliament takes for discussion an act, and when this act is taken for consideration in the Parliament, in either house of the Parliament, the majority of the either house is important. Means the assent of more than half of the members of the either house is important, and if this assent is granted, then the 2/3 majority of members present and voting in both the houses is also important. And if this assent is also granted, then the act goes to the president for president's assent, and if president sign the act, then the amendment to the constitution is made. But it is not same for all the articles in the Indian Constitution or for all the schedules. Some of the articles or some of the structures in the Indian Constitution are too important that the constitution makers thought that they must not be amended only with the assent of Parliament. The part of state legislature is also important. Means just talking about the Article 54, Article 55, Article 73, also the 7th schedule of the Constitution, allocation of seats for the representation of states, and also with regard to the chapter 4 of part 5th, chapter 5th of part 6th, and chapter 1st of the part 11. These type of all important articles and schedules, if you want to amend these articles, then not only the majority of the either houses and 2/3 majority of members present and voting is required, but also the ratification of more than half of the state legislatures is also important. Means you are going to amend the Indian Constitution in 2 ways. First, by the majority of the either house and 2/3 majority of the members present and voting. And second, which is most important, for most important articles, is majority of the either houses, 2/3 majority of members present and voting, and the ratification of more than half of the state legislatures. So this is about Article 368. Now talking about this 104 amendments, we have classified these all amendments in all these amendments, and some of the most important amendments we are going to discuss in this video, and we have classified all these amendments in certain categories which will make you easy to remember all that amendments. So let's take a quick look at them in just a few minutes. So the first category for the amendments is regarding the land acquisition amendments. After the first general elections in India, the government of India tried to acquire land to carry out many type of welfare projects for the citizens. But citizens went to the Supreme Court saying that when government is acquiring their land, their right to property which is guaranteed under Article 31 is being violated, and that's why this was the most important problem in acquiring the land of citizens. And that's why, to deal with this problem, the government of India introduced the First Amendment Act 1951 in the history of the Supreme Court and evolved the ninth schedule in the Constitution of India. Basic idea behind this ninth schedule was any type of act or legislation which is inserted in this ninth schedule cannot be challenged in the Supreme Court, saying that it is violating the fundamental rights or it is unconstitutional. And that's why all the land acquisition acts were inserted in this ninth schedule and they were protected from being challenged in the Supreme Court. With regard to that, after First Amendment Act, Fourth Amendment Act, 17th Amendment Act, 25th, 29th, 34th Amendment Act, 47th, 66th and 78th Amendment Act, all these amendments were basically regarding the changes in the ninth schedule, and they were nothing but the insertions in the ninth schedule of the Indian Constitution. All the acts regarding the land acquisition were inserted in this ninth schedule, and all these 9 amendment acts were regarding the ninth schedule of the Indian Constitution. This is the most important thing. Next, it's the reservation of STs and Anglo-Indians in legislature. So after independence, the social inequality in our country was at the peak, and that's why, to deal with this problem, the constitution makers thought that for the backward considered classes, the participation must be given to them in the politics or in the legislature of India, and that's why reservation was granted to STs in the legislature, and for the minorities like Anglo-Indians also reservation was granted under Article 334 of the Constitution. But as time passed, after the 8th Amendment Act, 23rd Amendment Act, 45th, 62nd, 79th, 95th and the recent 104th Amendment Act increased the duration of this reservation from 10 years to 20, 30, 40, 50 and today for the 80 years non-stop. So this is regarding the second category, and the third category is regarding the land boundaries agreement. All the land operations and land dealings regarding the boundaries of the Indian territory are here discussed in these 2 amendment acts. The first is the 9th Amendment Act, where all the land agreements or the land dealings with Pakistan in 1960 are discussed, and the 100th Amendment Act, where exchange of land pockets with Bangladesh was made and was introduced with the help of this 100th Amendment Act 2015, and all the subjective changes were made in the first schedule of the Indian Constitution with respect to the land boundaries agreement. Now, the fourth category regarding the amendments is the acquisition or formation of states and also union territories. 10th Amendment Act 1961, which incorporated the Dadra and Nagar Haveli as the union territory. 12th Amendment Act, which incorporated Goa, Diu and Daman as the union territory. And 14th Amendment Act, which incorporated Pondicherry as the union territory. Next, the 35th Amendment Act 1974 and 36th Amendment Act 1975. These 2 amendments both were incorporating the state of Sikkim as the state. So friends, there is a question: what about the other states like Maharashtra or Telangana, which were formed after the 26th January 1950, which were not from first in the constitution, the first schedule of the constitution? So the answer for that is, all the states which are incorporated in our country are not the result of the amendment acts, but some of the states are the result of the reorganization acts. Means Bombay Reorganization Act 1960, which incorporated the state of Maharashtra, or the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act 2014, which incorporated the state of Telangana. These type of reorganization acts also have incorporated some of the states in the territory of India. So all these amendment acts have made changes to the first schedule of the Indian Constitution. Next, it's the language related amendments. 21st Amendment Act 1967, which gave Sindhi as the status of official languages in the 8th schedule of Indian Constitution. 71st Amendment Act, which gave Konkani, Manipuri and Nepali language the status of official language. 92nd Amendment Act regarding the Bodo, Dogri, Nepal, Maithili and Santhali. These four languages, the official status of official languages in the 8th schedule. And 96th Amendment Act 2011, which was changing the name of language Oriya to Odia in 2011. Sixth category is regarding the emergency related amendments. All the amendments during the emergency from 1975 to 1978. 38th Amendment Act, 39th Amendment Act, 42nd Amendment Act, 43rd and 44th Amendment Act 1978. These are two important amendment acts during the emergency which changed the Indian Constitution in a very serious manner. Actually, the 42nd Amendment Act, which is also called the mini constitution of India, we will discuss about it in a special video, but for today these all are the emergency related amendments or the amendments in the period of emergency. And the seventh category is regarding the tax related amendments. All the changes in the taxation system of India or the finance are made here in the 46th Amendment Act 1982, 60th Amendment Act 1988, 80th Amendment Act 2000, 88th Amendment Act 2003 and 101 means 101st Amendment Act 2016 regarding GST, goods and service tax. Now, the 8th category is regarding the union territories given the status of state. The 55th Amendment Act 1986, by using which Arunachal Pradesh was declared as a state in the Indian Union, and the 56th Amendment Act 1987, by which Goa was declared as a state in the Indian Union and was separated from the union territories of Diu and Daman. The 9th category is regarding the Punjab related amendments. All the amendments regarding the state of Punjab and the emergency provisions which were imposed on Punjab are here. The 59th Amendment Act 1988, by which central government was empowered to declare emergency in the state of Punjab, and the 63rd Amendment Act 1989, which was introduced to cancel or to abolish the 59th Amendment Act in the Punjab, and the 67th Amendment Act was also giving the central government the power to declare national emergency, to declare the president rule in Punjab, and all the changes were made in the Article 356 of the Indian Constitution under the president rule. So the 10th category is regarding the SC and ST Commission amendment. All the amendments regarding the SC and ST commissions are here. The 65th Amendment Act 1990, by which the National Commission for Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes was appointed by the central government. The 89th Amendment Act 2003, where these two, the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes, were under the separate commissions, National Commission for Scheduled Castes and National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. And the 102nd Amendment Act 2018, by which National Commission for Backward Classes was established, and all the other commissions were abolished by the 102nd Amendment Act. Now, the 11th category is regarding the Delhi related amendments. All the amendments regarding the Union Territory of Delhi are here. The 69th Amendment Act 1991, by which special status to Union Territory Delhi was granted. And though today it's a union territory, Delhi have the state legislative assembly of its own, and also have a chief minister and the ministers assisting to him. And the 17th Amendment Act 1992, by which the electoral college of president was increased and the members of parliament from the union territory of Delhi were also added to the electoral college of president. Now, the 12th category is regarding the Part 9 amendments. All the amendments regarding the Part 9 of the Indian Constitution are discussed here. Actually, at the commencement of the constitution, the part 9 of the constitution was known as the states in the part D of the first schedule. But by the 7th Amendment Act, this part 9 was repealed from the Indian constitution. But afterwards, in the 73rd Amendment Act 1992, this part 9 was again introduced as the panchayats in the Indian constitution. The 74th Amendment Act 1992, which inserted part 9A in the Indian constitution, naming as municipalities, and the 97th Amendment Act 2011, which inserted part 9B in the Indian constitution, naming cooperative societies. So the last category for today is the SC and ST reservation amendments. All the amendments regarding SCs and STs are here. The 76th Amendment 1994, by which reservation to SCs and STs in the educational institutions and the government services was discussed. The 77th Amendment Act and the 81st Amendment Act 2000. By these two amendment acts, the reservation in promotion to the SCs and STs was also given, and with respect to it, 82nd Amendment Act 2000, 85th Amendment Act 2001 and 93rd Amendment Act 2005. All these amendments are relating to the reservation to SCs and STs in the subsequent years and in subsequent positions. All the subsequent changes relating to SC and ST reservation amendments are made in the Indian Constitution. So this is for today. We have discussed all the important amendments and all the important categories, but this is not enough. We are going to make detailed videos on each of the important amendments, and you are going to get these videos on the YouTube channel Constitution for Life. So don't forget to subscribe the channel and like, share and comment. So see you in the next session. Till then, Jai Hind.